Now, even though in one of my videos I discussed anxiety as the quality of ambiguity in not being able to figure out a situation. Let's say, giving the example of Lacan, of not knowing what the big other may want. I want to present a different point of view of anxiety that have come up this morning. And that is, anxiety is the result of resistance of creating an identity. So, what may this mean? Essentially is, when you are anxious, you're trying to avoid a certain scenario and you try to find a certain action that would create relief from this instance. Let's say you're stressed and you don't know how to figure it out. You probably use food as a coping mechanism or any other tool. And anxiety is highly linked to stress. We tend to avoid it in twofold kind of ways. The one's maybe essentially a pleasure principle, where a person tries to enjoy themselves and try to distract themselves out of it. But there's also a kind of super ego basis. That is, identity is pretty much the manipulation of an idea. Let's say you want to be a person who is really fit, or a person who achieves some goals, and to create what you always told yourself you want to. Now, what you're striving for, if you look clearly into it, you're not necessarily striving for the process, but you're most likely striving for the idea. For instance, if you really want to get lean and good looking, that may be the idea. This doesn't necessarily imply that you want to exercise or that you want to have a healthy diet. Probably you don't want to do the actual change. But what this creates, and on two levels, is that on the one hand you want to feel good. You want to feel good about yourself, but you don't want to take a sacrifice of training and exercising. On the other hand, you also want to enjoy the pleasure of feeling good and enjoying oneself. So what both the id and the superego present themselves is that both have some kind of pleasure that are offering themselves once you embark on a certain path. But what you should realize is that the more you get further in one direction, let's say you eat a lot of junk and you enjoy yourself, but you get overweight, the more resistance you will experience to start a healthy diet. Or to go the other way around, let's say you train a lot, you've been continually exercising and you're getting kind of tired of it. The longer you proceed, the greater will be the desire to relapse, to feel good again. And if you really think about it, this is pretty much how most of our goals are operating. The reasons why you can achieve your goals is in that sense that some part of us doesn't really want us to achieve those goals. Because even though if you may pursue those goals, they may still make us feel kind of dissatisfied, kind of miserable. And it's thus in this pleasure we try to get away from. We create more desire to get back into this pleasure. So, as a practical solution, what may be working is that not necessarily how you plan your goals or how clear the outcome is or how time-bound it essentially is. What I want to mention is, in this regard, is that the more you tend to avoid one certain need or putting another one above one, let's say a good image may be more important for you than to feel good, or the other way around, the more resistance you will create towards achieving that goal, which means it will make it more harder. Because you've been neglecting a need, which will become ever more so demanding once you pursue your goal. So, what may work in this regard is to figure out, okay, why would you not want to achieve your goal? So, essentially what you do is you turn the entire thing around. It's like, okay, you want to get shredded? Why would you not want to get shredded? And Let's say you're embarking on this goal and you're finding certain kind of difficulties of trying to achieve that goal. Try to think about why you still may not want to have this goal. What kind of need you have been neglecting on yourself that wants you to pull yourself back from it? Probably it may be security, probably it may be desire to look good, probably it would mean the sense of safety. But the more you tend to observe how you tend to feel around having or trying to achieve a certain goal, the more you will clarify why you tend to fail in the first place. And it's not necessarily of external circumstances, like, well, it may be a reason, but not necessarily. So, one of the number one principles I would actually present for goal setting is the actual necessity for well-being. Like, if you can make the process enjoyable, you will naturally condition yourself to move on it and to actually continue the process. And this was my message for today. Thanks for listening.